that hosts American troops was hit early this morning by at least 10 rockets. No word yet on any casualties.
Now, it's the first attack since the U.S. hit Iran-aligned militia targets along the Iraq-Syria border last week. That stoked fears of possible repeat of a series of tit-for-tat attacks that escalated last year. New this morning, a North Dakota lawmaker is out with plans to retaliate against allegations of harassment and any action taken by the legislature today. The announcement by House member Luke Simons of Dickinson comes just before the state assembly is expected to act against him. He's expected to face censure charges in the state house today, which could lead to his expulsion from his seat.
In a statement released late last night, Simon says he has no intention of resigning and calls for a public hearing to confront the allegations. He says, in part, misunderstandings often result from different perceptions to what may be said, and that he's shocked and disheartened that his words were interpreted incorrectly. Simons has argued that the instances were resolved individually and are disqualified from any further punishment.
Supporters are helping Simons raise money for a defense fund. A rally.org page has raised more than $3,000. And they say any unused funds will be used for his re-election campaign.
Also new this morning, Minnesota state troopers say alcohol was involved in a crash that injured a man in the Northern Valley. They say 27-year-old Robert Rosa Jr. of Crookston left Highway 2 around 7 last night near the town of Fisher in Polk County.
His car hit a culvert, went airborne, then landed in a ditch and crossed a road, and it finally stopped near a grain elevator. Now the driver was treated at the Crookston Hospital.
Starting in the mid-20s once again today. Let's get a check of our First Alert Storm Team forecast. And Summer, we're hoping for a repeat, but it sounds like maybe not quite as nice.
Yeah, yesterday was absolutely beautiful, and I saw so many people out enjoying those mild temperatures. Today is still going to be very mild, and we're off to a beautiful start. Just look at that. We are just a few minutes away from sunrise here in Fargo, and I love these oranges and pinks along with the purple looking clouds to start off our Wednesday. Temperature right now in Fargo, we're at 23 degrees, very light wind out of the northeast at 3 miles per hour, and 7:03 is the official sunrise here in Fargo. Sunset at 6:16. In Grand Forks, it's a little on the cooler side, 15 degrees, northeasterly breeze at 6 miles per hour. Sunrise will be at 7:05 and sunset also at 6:16. We're seeing the coldest air this morning up across the north, 15 in Bemidji, 12 in Baudette, 14 right now in Hallock, 18 in Langdon, 28 in Jamestown, 25 in Valley City, and 27 down in Sisseton. We are seeing some light snow moving through the Devil's Lake Basin this morning. It's very light in nature. The last couple of hours, it wasn't even all reaching the ground, but we are seeing indications now that it is making its way to the ground throughout the Devil's Lake Basin. As you're getting going this morning, putting on that first cup of coffee, we're starting our day with teens and 20s, but by that lunchtime hour into the low and mid 30s. And I know for sure it is midweek. I'm going to grab a large iced coffee for later today, especially with these temperatures near 40 degrees again with a mix of sun and clouds. So stepping through that hour by hour planner as this little system moves through, can't rule out a little bit of light snow pushing through the Central Valley and drying up as it moves through northwestern Minnesota. We will see a few peaks of sunshine for today before our next round of clouds moves in out of the south. Mostly will be in the 30s and 40s for our afternoon. And look at this gorgeous sunrise yesterday on 10 Mile Lake. Thank you to Dean for sending that one in, and we really warm up as we head into the weekend. 48 Friday, 50s for the weekend, and potentially even some rain as we head into next week.
Oh, the R word, some rain we have there, not snow.
I like that. And we'll clean things up a little bit too. I like a little rain in the early spring months as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Summer. There are many families here in the FM area that don't always know where their next meal is coming from.
And that's why a pop-up food pantry is coming back to Lutheran Church of the Cross in the Valley. Today's Brian Sherrod. He joins us live in West Fargo this morning with more on how they're helping families in need. Good morning, Brian.
And good morning, Jordan and Lisa. This church is actually located at 1402 16th Street East in West Fargo, and you see them in this parking lot. This is actually going to be where the food pantry is going to be, right out here in this parking lot, not indoors. Now, the last time they did this was the summer of last year, that's 2020, and they gave over 300 meals per month. There's a lot of meals. Now, they consider West Fargo to be a food desert, and pretty much what that means is there's not enough healthy options in this area, so this is where the food pantry comes into play. That's why they decided to start providing it on Friday Fridays. It's going to be 2 Fridays a month from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. Now you can come to the south side of the property, stay in your car, pop up your trunk, and food is placed inside. Now there are 75 meals for 4-person families, providing each person with 3 meals. And that does include a box of fresh food produce and a meal kit box. Now these meals especially needed as students do not receive school lunches on weekends, and the church pastor saying nobody should ever go hungry.
Like everyone needs help sometimes. There's no like shame in coming through. We're just here to help each other out. Everyone deserves to have something to eat and to have a full stomach.
Now there is no limit to the amount of times you can come. So if you want to come this Friday and then let's say in 2 weeks you want to come again, not an issue at all. Letting you know that they are accepting non-perishable goods and also some snacks for the kids as well.
Thank you, Brian. Brian Sherrod reporting live. Thank you for that update.
And starting on Monday, West Fargo Public Schools are joining their Fargo and Moorhead counterparts in repacking and distributing leftover meals to school food pantry programs. The month-long pilot program will reduce food waste and address the food insecurity that's experienced by the community's youth.
Recent data shows 9% of children under the age of 18 in Cass County and 12% in Clay County lack a consistent access to food to live a healthy life. North Dakota health officials are getting ready to roll out the new 1-dose Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine. They're expecting an initial allocation of 6,300 doses, which will go to pharmacies and urgent care. Those doses are expected to arrive on Friday. Minnesota is expecting to get 45,000 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine later this week. Clay County Public Health is hosting another COVID vaccine clinic today in downtown Moorhead. The event is for Clay County residents over the age of 65 only. It's happening at the UMCOM Center from 1 to 5. There are limited appointments. You do need to register ahead of time. You can find those details at valleynewslive.com.
The Minnesota Department of Health is asking health providers to help in their investigation into COVID-19 vaccine breakthrough cases. Now, that's where someone has been vaccinated and then they later get COVID-19. They're asking people to report cases where they test positive 14 days after completing that 2-dose series of vaccinations. So far, these cases have been rare. Now, they say it will help the CDC understand immune responses. Mask mandates, they might be a thing of the past in Fargo and Grand Forks. Later this month, now Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney is indicating that he would allow the city's mask mandate to expire on the current end date of March 22nd, especially if the city can get through Phase 1B of vaccinations. The Grand Forks County Health Officer says he could rescind the mandate after 14 consecutive days of the county being in the low risk level. Now that could come as soon as Monday.
The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is now identifying the officers involved in a deadly shooting last weekend, as Wadena County Deputy Troy Mayer and Sabika Police Officer Jason Worm. The BCA says brothers David and Shannon Savella, both of Sabika, were killed Saturday night in that shooting that happened after David was pulled over during a brief chase. The
incident escalated when Shannon arrived on scene. Police say Shannon then opened fire on the police and then Worm returned fire, killing both brothers. Deputy Mayer was treated for a gunshot wound. Worm was hit in his bulletproof vest, but he was not seriously injured. Fargo police now say the suspect and the victim of an armed robbery earlier this week, they all knew each other. 20-year-old Damon Peterson is accused of terrorizing and criminal conspiracy after an incident early Monday morning.
Police responded to a car crash around 1 a.m., then got calls about gunshots and an armed robbery involving a stolen vehicle. Officers determined all 3 incidents were related and arrested Peterson at the crash scene before taking him to the hospital. He was released to the Cass County Jail yesterday afternoon. West Fargo City Commissioners are reviewing the possibility of annexing the Red River Valley Fairgrounds, Bonanzaville, the campgrounds, and the county offices.
Commissioner Mandy George says this would impact what residents pay in special assessments.
We don't want to put, the fair or Bonanzaville or the campground, we don't want to put them out of business. That's certainly not the goal. But we do think that they should be paying their portion of specials. So what happens is since they're not, the surrounding neighborhoods end up paying as much as 30% higher than they would if the fairground is paying their fair share of their taxes.
City staff members are working to research the possibility of an annexation.
We can almost already hear the buzz of them. The Metro's mosquito fighters say it's never too early to talk about a summer pest. Vector control teams are holding a public meeting today to talk about plans for this summer.
It's going on from 4:30 to 6 tonight at the UMCOM Center in downtown Moorhead. The public is invited to hear what's happening Attendance is limited, however, and you do need to wear a mask. You can also tune in from home on the City of Moorhead's YouTube channel. Let's get our answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. Here's today's question. A survey asked, what are the little things in life that make you happy? And this was number one on that list.
I think a lot of people can relate to it. It's a hug, especially after everything with the pandemic and not being able to
hug.
Yeah, I feel like it's something a lot of people are going to be doing once we're all vaccinated and safe again. Remember, you can play along every day. Just head to the Valley News Live Facebook page. The Today Show and CBS This Morning, they're just about to start, but the Valley today, it rolls on. More news and weather for you on the CW.